Israel and the United States under threat. Maybe not directly from Iran, but indirectly through Iranian proxies. Islamic militias doing battle and waging war. Joining us to provide some insights from Jerusalem is Jonathan Spire. He's research director at the Middle East Forum. Jonathan, thanks for being with us. So we know that Iran has supported and encouraged Hamas to enter this fight against Israel, but how about its proxy in Lebanon? Is Hezbollah about to jump in?
Yeah, Gary. Well, Hezbollah in Lebanon has already been active. There's a kind of low-intensity conflict already underway between Hezbollah in Lebanon and the Israel Defense Forces. There's been over 50 Hezbollah men killed by Israel in the exchanges of fire since October 7th, and a number of Israeli soldiers have been killed too. Hezbollah is launching anti-tank missiles, Israeli communities, rockets also, drones also. So there's a low-intensity fight going on. But I would say that Iran has yet to instruct Hezbollah to really plunge into total involvement in the war and open a second front. They're trying to kind of distract attention from Israel with this drip of consistent attacks each day.
Well, why are they hesitating to jump in all the way?
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons. I think the main one, and one of them may well be the presence of the USS Gerald Ford in the Mediterranean, and the possibility that, you know, if Hezbollah and Iran were to enter the war themselves, the United States might enter too. But I think a central reason, specifically regarding Lebanese Hezbollah, is because, as Israel has made clear, if Hezbollah does enter the war, Israel will hit back against Lebanon with full force. Lebanon is already a failed state. Hezbollah is the de facto controller of it. It looks like they don't particularly want that.
Yeah, the Lebanese don't want that either. And it's not only Hezbollah. We've seen the Saudis, the United Arab Emirates, the United States shoot down missiles fired at Israel from the Houthi militia out of Yemen.
Yes.
So tell us more about the Houthis. Who are they and why are they firing missiles?
Yeah, sure. So the Houthi militia, Houthi is really a name of a tribe, which is the leadership of the militia. A guy called Abdul Malik al-Houthi is the commander of the militia. The militia is actually called Ansar Allah, the fighters of Allah, in its official name. It's a militia, tribal Shia militia of long-standing in Yemen. Unlike Lebanese Hezbollah, the Houthis, the Ansar Allah, is not a creation of Iran. The Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps didn't set it up. It's a local movement, the way that Hamas is among the Palestinians. But like Hamas, it depends on the Iranians for its military abilities, for its hardware, for its missiles, for its rockets, for its weaponry. And yes, the Houthis in Yemen are one of the clients that the Iranians like to switch on and off when they want to attack an enemy country without being held directly responsible for it themselves. Famously, the Houthis were held responsible for a massive drone attack, for example, on Saudi oil processing facilities back in September 2019. Now they're being held responsible for launching a medium-range ballistic missile on Israel, and just one of, I think, 4 attacks that have taken place since the war between Israel and Hamas began. But at the end of the day, we can say it's the Houthis, we can say it's Lebanese Hezbollah. At the end of the day, all of this traces back to Tehran and to the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps and to the Iranian Islamist regime.
Well, we've seen attacks against U.S. troops at bases in Syria and Iraq. So first tell us about these bases. Why are U.S. troops there and who's attacking them?
Yeah, bases in Syria and Iraq. Well, the United States has a military presence in both countries as part of, at least so it is officially declared, as part of the ongoing war against ISIS, against Islamic State. In reality, I think that there's an additional reason for it, which is that Iran and Russia in the Syrian context, Iran in the Iraqi context, are trying to essentially take over the countries in question, and America considers it worthwhile to have to be holding cards against that process, so to speak. Bases in Baghdad Airport, in Erbil Airport, Ain al-Assad Air Base, Konoko in Syria, Tanif in Syria. These bases have all been under attack by the Iraqi Shia militias. I think over the last 2 weeks, the number I'm familiar with is 23 separate attacks have taken place on these facilities. Nobody's been killed yet. It is the Iraqi Shia militias which are carrying them out. The official name of the group taking responsibility is the Islamic Resistance in Iraq. But behind that, we think, is an organization called Kataib Hezbollah, which again is the parallel in Iraq. There are many others in Iraq, but the main parallel in Iraq to Hezbollah in Lebanon, or the Houthis in Yemen. That's to say, an organization supported by, armed by, and to a great degree controlled by the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. And it is this organization which is carrying out an ongoing campaign of attacks against U.S. facilities, constant ongoing harassment of U.S. facilities in both Iraq and in Syria.
So, Jonathan, finally, will Iran back off if the United States applies more pressure? What needs to be done to stop these proxy armies?
My sense is that the United States does need to hit back, frankly. I mean, I'm not a U.S. citizen. It's just me giving my opinion from here in Israel. But yeah, I think that it's not really feasible or tenable for America to continue kind of absorbing these hits. Of course, there have been American responses. But for my money, I would say, at least if America wants this to stop, then the United States should take a little bit firmer action against these militias. At the end of the day, these are these are military acts. These are acts of war. Even if they're not, if nobody's yet been hurt or killed in them, thank goodness. So yes, I think that it's not really acceptable that United States forces should be facing daily harassment. Essentially, it's part of the larger effort of Iran, also against Israel, an ally of the U.S., of course. And sure, it's time that it stopped.
Okay, Jonathan Spire of the Middle East Forum in Jerusalem. Thank you for providing those insights. We appreciate it, Jonathan.
Thanks very much, Gary.